Okay, so like the song says, God is trying to tell you something. I have listened to 3 people tonight talk about love. 2 sermons and 1 conversation. I'm like, what's going on, Lord? But what really jolted me, I think, was the conversation I had. And honestly, I dismissed some things. I dismissed it. Because when he talked about forgiveness after being poisoned as a child by a family member, I'm like, you better than me. So, and the family not really pressing charges. I think they prayed and whatnot. I'm like, I don't know about that. No, I didn't say that. I said, that is not what I said. But I'm like, no, that's sick, I'm spitting up just listening to this. But now that the conversation is over, I have to unpack. It wasn't just that, but he's been through a whole lot. Like, Lord, how is he? Actually, no, I didn't ask God, how is he still, believing in you? But I began to think something's not right. Something cannot be right. In my heart of hearts, that's what I felt. Because I began to think that who he was in a former life, maybe that's why he felt he didn't deserve something real. Or not deserve it, but I don't know, identify what's God and what's just evil. What's good and what's evil. And what does it really mean is my, it's not really my question, because I'm thinking some things I cannot even begin to honestly pray about. I feel like it's just a no. That's so heinous, what was done to him as a kid. It's not about forgiveness. To me, so that's where I am on my journey today. I mentioned to him, I'm an empath. It's not that I think I'm holier than thou, but I can't really, be around it, because like I was spitting up, like it was, you know what I mean? So, sometimes I think, when I listen to people, maybe myself, I don't know, that I've been through a lot, is it hard to distinguish between the voice of God, the sound of God, and an imitation of God? Like the movie Imitation of Life. Is that an imitation of ministry that he saw and just didn't know because he was coming from the other side of things, as he said, the things he used to do, his other life? Like, is it hard to see the difference? I don't know. I think discernment is, key, is something that hopefully gained through a close walk with the Spirit. So hopefully I don't have to go through everything. I could just be like, nah, I get that nudge, that discernment, that that's a no. I don't need a background report. I don't need an investigation. The Spirit said no. I felt that, so I'm just going to leave it there. I don't have to understand why on everything. A no is a no, right? And like the Bible talks about, wolves in sheep clothing. It may look good, but it's not good. Because I'm listening to the people he's talked about in ministry. And I didn't understand it. After some things came out, I'm like, Lord, when is it a good time to just take a step down? And so the conversation kind of geared towards forgiveness and love. I'm like, I don't necessarily think it's about forgiveness when, again, there's just a heinous act on it. Because I know for myself, as I mentioned to him, my traumas, my past, my whatever, takes time to unpack, to heal, all those things, right? Not necessarily in the public eye, but while I'm on that healing journey, am I really fit to be showing someone else what to do or talking to them? Well, I'm trying to maybe, be guided myself on these issues. How can I, tell them? I can maybe be a witness, give my testimony, but I don't know if I'm in a position. I won't do that. Okay. So going back to, what was the other part of that? Discernment. Could there be a lack of discernment and trusting? Oh, I just read about that. He did touch on Revelation. The people that will say that they are apostles that are not. And so I just read that not too long ago. I didn't read all of Revelation. So I guess that kind of breaks it down for me, because I felt guilty in saying, you know what, I don't think that's God. But rightfully so, everything isn't of God that claims to be. But, okay, so the other sermons I listened to. Okay, let me go back to the man again, because I'm still cloudy. I felt mostly like there were blinders on. And I am pretty sure I have been there. And I've walked that road when I didn't see it right away. I'm like, what? And I know someone had to tell me, this isn't okay. I'm like, but they're teaching and they're preaching and da 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 da. I didn't see it for a good, let's see. It's been, how many years back now? Almost 9? 8? No, wait. Let's see. Yeah, around there. And I was under the ministry. And there were things that I had questions about. I didn't think were necessarily right. But there was a huge part that I could not see because I was so set on, not set, but I was so maybe convinced that they were from God, they were of God. Because the other part sounded so good to me. But if there's a red flag, there's just a red flag. I can't ignore that. I can't ignore the bad and just look at the good. Like it's all on the table, right? Just like my life is all on the table to God. Nothing's off limits. So if something seems imbalanced, right? Then yeah, I need to ask God, what's going on? What am I doing something, am I not listening? Is there something I can work on, I can progress on? But I don't want to ignore it or disguise it as not being wrong or not needing improvement, rather, right? I don't know if I'm going to post this devotion or not because I'm totally unpacking after a long conversation. But he had been through so much. And I was just thinking before I spoke with him, how does he do it? How does he survive day to day? Oh, maybe that's why I got the nudge to just, reach back out to him. And he just kept talking about love and how God, loved him. How he feels that. But now I'm stuck. I'm at, is it guilt? Is it guilt, Lord? Where's that coming from, Spirit? That's what I feel. Is it guilt? More so than anything. Because I couldn't put my finger on it. Like something's not resonating. And I know he's suffering because he cries. Like, what's pouring out, Lord? What's going on? Twice I've spoken to him and he's cried. So I believe he's, he truly believes in the love of God, but he did say he just wanted to be loved by that family member that caused him harm. And he forgave them. And me, I'm like, straight up, I don't, I felt like prison wouldn't be enough for what they did to a child. That's where my heart is. And for really no one to say anything and then just go into prayer, like, there it is. That's the disconnect I have. That has to be it. When the idea of forgiveness, because it's coming back to me. He talked about Jesus, and who was it? Did he say Peter or someone? But the moral of the lesson was Jesus said, well, what was it? Oh gosh. It just was painted like, almost like turn the other cheek, which I have talked about, but it was stretched to the max of just almost being walked all over. Like, I don't think that's the message either. There are times, there should be times, where God is showing us that, no, this is toxic for you. It's not about saying, I forgive them for what they did, and I'm going to stay and stay and stay. No, this is toxic. This is making you sick, and this is evil. It's not about prayer to stay in a toxic environment that continues to harm you. I mentioned prayer is, for me, is sometimes harder to let go and to walk away. Prayer may be needed to have the strength to do so, but to justified under forgiveness and God's love, I think that might be the wrong message for me on my journey at this point, at least. I think that's what it is. The heart of the issue was love was like a blanket that covers everything. In a sense where it talks about anyone, regardless of what they done, being forgiven by Christ. But we are not Christ. We don't have that to pardon. We don't have the say over eternity. Now I have the capacity, and I'm talking about me and the guy, whoever, the capacity, like where Jesus is right now, on the throne. That's different than man at home. I'm such a fan. Oh my gosh. On the road to getting there, Christ is there. So, I think maybe why he cries, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or therapist. These are my unpacking sessions. It's because maybe maybe that's why the Spirit brought him into my life, has stepped forward, or maybe they have, and said, no, that's not okay. You deserve better than that relationship. Who's to say you have to stay in it and suffer? Although the Bible talks about long suffering, unpacking this situation. I'm not exactly sure what long suffering is. I can't, maybe that's a different devotion. I don't know. I won't say that, but what really resonates, I should put it that way, with me. If God is loving, then that means he loves me so much. He wants me to be healthy, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.